Before we get started here, I wanted to take a minute to apologize for not getting a video out for a couple of weeks, but hey, you know, it's the holiday season and I've been making preparations for a lot of stuff coming up that you guys are really going to like. I'm working on some injection molded plastic stuff and all the equipment surrounding that, which I'll be building from scratch. Those are projects that are in the works. I've got a belt grinder coming up. The CNC router is up and running. It is online. Still, the problem is me. I'm learning Fusion 360. I'm able to make a toolpath. I'm just not able to get the toolpath properly exported over onto the CNC router. But once I get past these few stumbling blocks, we're going to see that take off in a big way with the CNC router project. With that said, onto this video. It's an art project that I had to do. I'm submitting it for curation at an art show. I don't know that I'd call myself an artist, but we'll let them be the judge of that. So here we go. A local city is having an art show and it's called Zoom In, Life Up Close. And it's a curated art show, and this would be an awesome piece to put there. The only problem is it's too big, too heavy, and it mounts directly to the wall. So what I'm going to do is replicate the piece, smaller, lighter, and with a mounting that they can attach to the wall, and submit that for curation. The first thing I want to do is I want to make a frame around the plywood backing for the art piece. So I just found this redwood. It's already cut mitered, but I want to line it up. So I'm going to cut both sides or both joints at once. That way I know they'll be exactly the same length. And then because I want them both exactly the same, I'm just gonna come in here and trim off the end of this again. The way I'm going to join these corners is I'm going to drill and pin them with a dowel and then clamp them with my special clamps, which I'll show you how they work later. But first, we're going to talk about my Craftsman dowel jig. This thing is an antique. I got it at a yard sale for $3. It has 3/16, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, and ½ dowel guide holes. But the person I bought it from used the 1/4 inch holes so much that it is reamed out well past 1/4 inch and completely useless. So since I never used 3/16 dowels, I drilled it to be a 1/4 inch. That's my new 1/4 inch guide. So the way this thing works is you clamp it on to the face that you're going to drill, and it provides you a center hole. And it has a scale along here, but you know, it's only good to 1/16 of an inch increments, and there's no vernier dial on it or anything, so getting exactly in the middle of the board is practically impossible. But what you do to compensate for that is when you mark where you're going to place the gauge, make sure that your reference side is the same on each side of the joint. On these two pieces here, this is the face and this is the face. So I want to mark on the face side of the inside of the miter. And hear my neighbor dog barking in the background. So we'll put a mark right there. And what a lot of people would do is pick up the other piece and do the same thing, but that is where the mistake happens. I've marked on the face side of the miter cut here. Now on this side, I need to also mark on the face side, which is the opposite side of the miter cut. So we'll do that. Okay, now when we clamp the miter jig onto the workpiece, there's a little alignment notch there, and we want to line that up exactly with the that mark on the mitering gauge. Then we'll drill the hole, and I'll leave it to you guys to figure out how to decide how deep to drill that. Now this is where I made mistakes for a long time. So in this piece, you've got to, since the face is on the right instead of on the left, you've got to turn the miter gauge around and realign it. And then drill it. What this does is it makes sure that this hole is the same distance from the front on both the pieces. That way, when we pin it together, you'll see that they're completely flush on the face and on the back, coincidentally. And that's good to have, right? I want to pin this miter joint with dowels and glue it together, but that presents a few issues, one of which is how do you apply enough clamping force to really get a good joint going on there. I mean, we've got these kind of corner clamps and they're okay, but they are not okay enough in my mind. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to clamp this side down because I've got this ledge on the side of my work table here. So I'll clamp that down, and then I will clamp these corner clamp adapters. I don't know what you call these, but I saw them over on Four Eyes Woodworking, Chris Salamone's channel, and I highly recommend going over there. He is an exceptionally skilled woodworker. Anyway, so you've got these clamps, and once these are on here like this, you see the way it allows you to apply clamping force right on the same plane as the dowel holes. I'll put another one here. And one of the things I'm paying attention to do is, see, these clamps are not going to bump each other. And if I had both of the screws out this way, then when I came in to put my next clamp, I'd have to fight against a screw there. So now that that's out of the way, I can apply some glue, insert my dowel, okay, I've got just a little bit of squeeze out going. Now I can apply this clamp here, and this will really draw that together. But look what's going on back here, is this is coming out. So what I've got to do is come in here with this is attached here, right? And this is tight here. But now what I got to do is come in here, bend this back in, and clamp it in place. And then I'll come in here with my little square and just look at the corner that I have access to. Okay, that's good. Now the next thing I want to do here is cut a sheet of plywood to fit inside this frame. And you notice I glued up the narrow ends first, and that is because if to put the final dowel pins in, I'm going to have to flex this a little bit, and flexing on the narrow end increases the likelihood that you could break the dowel joint that's already there. On the long end, I'm not too worried about it. And that's looking like it's going to be a good fit. So we'll paint it and then install it, pin the other two corners. So the next thing I need to do is cut a bunch of strips that I'm going to cut the lips out of. So So here are all my strips. They're all various widths, and I don't want the width of the strip on top to line up with the width of the strip on the bottom. So I'm going to cut all these in half on the bandsaw and then line them up over on the workbench and lay them out and draw the lips. Then I'll cut them out on the bandsaw also. So I have my design laid out on the cut pieces of plywood. The next thing I got to do is flip them all over, and on the top ones I'm going to number left to right, 1 through however many because I didn't count them yet, and then on the bottom I'm going to letter them on the back from A through Z. Then I'll cut them out, paint them, and glue them on to the other piece after I set it in the frame. Okay, well here the panel is installed. We've got the final 2 joints glued up. Once this sets up, we're going to go ahead and install the lips. Just glue them onto the face of this. But I see a little bit of marring here. I'm going to have to come in and do a little more touch-up on the white before that happens. Okay, this project is very close to done. All I need to do is install the mounting and glue the lips on to the front. So we're at 23 inches. They want it in the top third, so 7 inches from the top should be just fine. I will put a little hole right there. And do the same on this side. Then we'll install these eyelets. So there it is, the evolution of an art project. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click up here if you want to see my last video. Click up here if you want to see a video of mine that YouTube thinks you'll like. And have a good one.